I'm Scott Brown with Green Wind and Other Home Energies. I've squeezed out quite a bit of epoxy here, and just enough to fill up the piston all the way. Some of it's going to stick to the can. It doesn't need to come all the way to the top. So as long as it's like half or 3/4 full, it's pretty good. This is a two-part plastic epoxy that I'm using. We've got to mix this up completely full. Completely. If there's any spot that doesn't mix and you pour it in there, it's going to have a spot that never hardens. And it's also sticky and hard to clean out, and then you can't glue to it. I like these little bottoms of these aluminum cans. It makes a nice little mixing bowl, and you can throw them out because they aren't really worth anything. After mixing it up, I like to spin the rod. It helps pick up a whole lot of epoxy, and you can get it inside without dripping it down the sides. You see how I'm spinning it here. If you get any on the outside, if you got strong fingernails, you can scrape it off pretty good, and then you can run it on sideways on a piece of paper and polish the sides real good, and it'll rub it off like an eraser, so it kind of helps out. You're going to have some that seeps out the bottom, and you're going to have to pick that off. Don't use anything sharp. It's going to scratch the brass. And it'll be pretty hard, so you can handle it pretty good. It's not going to warp after you've got the epoxy dried in it. And the best thing about epoxy is you can pour it pretty thick, and it's not an air dry, it's a chemical dry or hardener. So it's gonna harden all the way through, and it's gonna happen relatively fast. It says 7-minute epoxy. Doesn't mean it's ready to go in 7 minutes. It just means it sets, and there's no so you got to get everything all done and set in there in 7 minutes. 7-minute epoxy, that means I got to hold this in here for 7 minutes. I guess I'll see you in about 7 minutes.
Okay, we're done with the piston here, and as you can see into it pretty good. Very nice little shot there. You can see that the coat hanger came over to the side a little bit in the setting, but what is important is this is in the middle no matter which direction you turn, because this is where the linkage is going to go, and that's what's going to control it. This is the piston wall, and it's all been reburred. We showed how to do all that. Now I'm going to show you the efficiency of it. It's not 100% airtight, but if you notice it, it's going down real slow. And if I take my finger out, it should just fall out now. So there's like no friction there, but very, very little air loss. And that's full of epoxy, so it's got a little bit of weight. She goes down nice and slow. Alright, we're going to put these on here. I have taken the point that we made, and I have poked a series of holes starting in the middle and then going around, and then one in between each going around, and setting this up to make sure that it still fits and it's still where I want it. And then when I got done, I poked the holes a little bit bigger, and the reason why I done them kind of short at first, because I don't want to poke a hole in that displacer in there. And you take them and you bend them over, and that brings this surface area here up, and that's good. That'll breathe more than enough air. I've seen people use tubes that's got about the size of 3 of those holes. This will work good. I like this. It's stronger, it's better. And if you ever take the piston out to clean, nothing can fall inside the motor, the engine, excuse me. Get right back in a minute, and we'll be putting all this together. I'm Scott Brown, Green Wind and Other Home Energies. Okay, on this other engine, we're going to put a diaphragm on it, and it's going to need to be rather large, and we're going to do that on the side. So that's why I got this in here, and I'm making sure I'm not going in very far, because I don't want to put too many holes in my displacer. Not that far, just in a nice array of holes. glue a piece of PVC elbow here. And why do we want to do one with PVC and the diaphragm while we have a piston? Well, some people don't have a piston, don't have the access to the materials. Oh yeah, air rushes through there nice and fast. Now to widen these holes rather than going deeper, I'll get it in as deep as I can, bend her over. That helps open them holes right up. That's basically what I've done on the other one. This one ain't pretty, but that's okay, I don't care. The air doesn't care, and it's not going to be seen. That's the main part right there. Now everything is out. There's no dent, and you can even see the lump in the side. That's a good thing I did this, because you can't see I can't turn this sideways to show you. But anyway, this one's ready for to be glued on. Let's get to making this thing. Well, I'm going to have to shorten this in order to bend it over, and so I'll kink it just a little bit. A decent load point. I'll give it a little bit of a turn. There we go. That ought to do it. Now at this point, I want to hold it below the brake here and above the brake. I'm going to take this up. This is in air. Well, I'm not putting any tension on this, and I haven't bent that at all. Now, see, I want this to come up just a little bit to play with, so I figure about halfway. Start here, and I'm going to bend this thing over 90 degrees. I'm not going to put a loop on this one. We're just going to do 90 degrees. And I'll show you just how easy this is to hook up later. I leave myself just enough for a pen filling to be able to fit on the end, and for the rest of the can to hold right there. That would be real great. No sticking. I'm Scott Brown, Green Wind and Other Home Energies. Many good things to you and yours.